Let's talk about a problem that so many businesses run into: knowledge management. We're going to explore a really smart, performance-based approach based on the work of Guy Wallace that can turn your company's knowledge system from this expensive, messy archive into a sharp, strategic tool that actually helps your bottom line.
So let me ask you something. Think about your company's knowledge management system, the KMS. Is it a goldmine packed with useful stuff? Or is it more of a digital graveyard where great ideas just go to get buried? It's a serious question, because these systems cost a ton of time and money.
You see, the big problem with most of these systems is, to be blunt, they're a mess. There's often no real business case, no one's even thinking about ROI, and content creation is just a free-for-all. So what happens? The whole system gets bloated with nice-to-know fluff, instead of the critical, required-to-know information that actually makes a difference.
Okay, so let's get on the same page real quick. A knowledge management system is all about grabbing your company's intellectual capital, all that valuable stuff your people know, and using it to protect and grow the business. You can almost think of it like the company's collective brain, where everyone can access it. Now, this is where it gets really good. You've got two kinds of knowledge. Explicit knowledge is the easy stuff: policies, procedures, things you can just write down. But tacit knowledge, that's the real gold. We're talking about the insights, the tricks of the trade, the lessons people learn the hard way. A great KMS has to capture both. But man, that tacit knowledge is where the real value and the real challenge is.
So how in the world do we fix this mess? Well, the solution is something called a push-pull strategy. And it's a fantastic idea that's actually borrowed from the world of marketing.
The idea is super simple, but really powerful. Push marketing is when a company sends you something you didn't ask for, like those credit card offers you get in the mail. Pull marketing is when you go out and get something you need, like grabbing a magazine at the store. One is targeted and sent right to you, the other is just available when you need it.
And here's how we use that for a KMS. You push the absolutely essential high-impact knowledge directly to the people who need it the most, your key performers, the ones driving results. Then you make all that same info available for anyone else to pull whenever they happen to need it. And the rule here is key. If one of those pull audiences suddenly becomes critical for a project, you switch gears and start pushing to them too. It makes sure the right people have the right info right when they need it.
All right, let's talk about the money, because this push-pull model isn't just some neat theory. It's a framework that is absolutely laser-focused on getting a real return on your investment and creating actual value for the business.
This right here is the question you should be asking about every single business decision you make, and that includes managing knowledge. It's the ultimate reality check, right? If you're not going to get a positive return on an investment, why on earth would you make it?
And here's the classic formula that makes it all real: return on investment. It's just what you get back minus what you put in divided by what you put in. So if you invest $100 and get back $150, your ROI is 50%. Simple. Every single thing you do with your KMS should be measured against this.
So let's see what this looks like in the real world. Imagine a company with $20 million in revenue. If a targeted push-pull KMS can bump up revenue by just 5% and cut costs by 5%, well, that generates a return of $1.8 million. I mean, those are not small numbers. That's the kind of power we're talking about with a focused, performance-based system.
So the takeaway here is crystal clear, non-negotiable. Every decision, every piece of content, every single dollar you spend on your knowledge management system has to be justified by its potential to give you a positive return on investment. Period. No exceptions.
Okay, so the why makes sense, but how do you actually do it? Don't worry, we've got a plan. This next part is a practical roadmap, and we're breaking it all down into 4 clear stages.
So here's the plan. First, you build the business case to prove the value. Second, you design the infrastructure and the processes. Third, and this part is so important, you create the content, but you only focus on your push audiences to start. And finally, you set up the operations for ongoing maintenance. See, it's a logical step-by-step process.
Now that 4th stage, the ongoing operations, it can get pretty complex. This clock face model gives you a feel for everything that's involved. It's kind of like the inside of a fancy Swiss watch with 12 interconnected systems that all have to work together perfectly to keep the KMS humming along. And honestly, this is why a focused push-pull strategy is so essential. It helps you manage all this complexity without getting lost in the weeds and losing sight of the big picture. All right, let's bring it all home and focus on the biggest strategic takeaway here, the thing you can start thinking about today. Let's start with a big flashing warning sign. An unfocused, serve-everybody approach to knowledge management, it's just a recipe for disaster. It's like trying to build a house in a swamp. You're going to end up with a mess of redundant, outdated content, which leads to out-of-control costs and, you guessed it, a negative return on your investment. And then this really brings us to the most important point of this whole explainer. Your goal is not to serve everyone's needs. You have to fight that urge. Your business simply cannot afford the cost of trying to be everything to everyone. Strategic focus isn't just a nice idea, it's a financial necessity. So I'll leave you with this question to take back to your team. Who are the most critical, high-payback people in your organization right now? And what is the essential knowledge they need to do their jobs better? Answering that one question, that's the first step to building a knowledge system that really, truly performs. So, who are you going to push to first?